Hello, my name is Max Klug and I'm 20 and I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm just here to tell you a little bit about my discernment process with the friars. First, tell you where I came from so you know a bit about my background. As I said, I was born and raised in Milwaukee and I went to St. Roman's Parish grade school, and that's a Catholic grade school. And I think that's where my call to the priesthood I really started to answer and discern. Ever since a very young age, I felt drawn to the Catholic priesthood, but I wasn't very much sure what that all entailed and what that was. Up until the 7th grade, my theology teacher introduced me to different religious orders in the area. And that's when I started thinking more in depth about joining a religious order. At that point, I never really met the Franciscans, so I didn't know if that's who I wanted to join or not. And then I graduated from grade school, went on to high school, and it was when I went to St. Thomas More High School in Milwaukee is where God brought the friars into my life. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go on the pilgrimage program over to CZ with the Vocation director, Father John Pajunas, and Sister Annie, and about 15 other juniors. Being in the town of Assisi, that's when it hit me that I felt this call to the Franciscan way of life. And as corny as it may sound, being inside the Portiuncula, the church that St. Francis built with his own 2 hands, is when I felt the Spirit just hit me and be like, Max, you're being called to live the Franciscan way of life. So that's inside the church that St. Francis built is where I received my call to the Franciscan way of life. And looking back, it's just amazing. It's as one of our friars would say, it's a wow moment. It's a wonder of wonders moment. It's just absolutely amazing. So I came back to the States, and that Franciscan feeling just stayed with me, and I've never had that attraction to something before, so I figured there was something to this call to the Franciscan way of life. So I stayed in contact with the friars, and eventually I graduated high school, and then I went off to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee to finish my college. I was studying French and international relations, but when I was there, I just felt I was missing something. I needed something more, not just educationally, but spiritually. So I started talking to the Vocation director more and more, which was Father Mike's Rufka at the time. And we were talking a lot and decided at that point in my life it was the right time for me to take the next step in my discernment process. So we decided to continue with the application, and I was up and down a lot in the application process. It was like, should I finish education or should I join the friars right now in my life? So it was a lot of back and forth, starting and stopping, but obviously here I am, so I went through with it. I finished my application. But what helped me decide to take the step now in my life at the age of 20 is, I'm only 20. So if you're younger and you're feeling, I'm too young for this, or I have to wait until I'm older, I would say, no, don't worry about that. Just take this step. Ultimately, it's only 10 months out of your life this first year to really just sit back and say, God, I'm giving myself to you completely for these 10 months. Do with me whatever you need me to do. But just letting go of everything is a very amazing feeling. It's very difficult to do in this world, and it was a big struggle for me, but reflecting on it now, I'm very happy that I just stepped back and said, God, this next 10 months are devoted completely to you. Really, since I've been in the Postulant program, my relationship with God has grown tremendously. It's almost impossible for me to explain the relationship I have now with God and just the Catholic Church, and also the brothers I'm living with, all the Franciscan friars. They're quite an interesting group, to put it that way. I hear this saying a lot, that there's no friar that's like, there's no cookie cutter friar. And I think that's one amazing thing about the friars is they're so unique, and they have each of their own gifts, and they use their talents to serve the church and ultimately serve God's people around them, and they're so genuine in their service, and just living with them is an inspiring thing to watch. And it's a great journey. So like I said, if you're at all going back and forth where you are in your life, if you should finish education, if you should stay at the job you're in, whatever you are in your life, I would say just stop and think about it. It's only 10 months. And in the scheme of life, that's not too long to give to God.